endlessly ever after. Your mamma shakes you out of bed. She says, "My darling dear, you need to run to Grandma's quick. She's feeling ill, I fear. Now take this cake to cheer her up, and have a lovely day. But mind the path, for danger tends to lurk along the way." So up you jump, you give a nod, and through the room you tear. But wait, you'll need to grab your coat. It's rather cool out there. What next, Rosie? Which coat will you wear? To slip on your coziest faux fur coat, turn to page 20. To grab your favorite red cape, turn to page 6. A wolf is waiting by the path out in the morning sun. "I like your fine red cape," he says. "You heading someplace fun?" "I'm off to see my grandma," you tell your toothy friend. "Her house is purple, with a gate, down at the very end. I haven't time to chat just now. I've got a ways to walk. But have a lovely afternoon. Another time we'll talk." The wolf just nods his furry head and quickly slips away. He flicks his tail and disappears into the sunny day. And standing on the path alone, you fear you've been unwise. You can't forget his claws or jaws, his shifty yellow eyes. You wish you hadn't met that wolf. You wish he didn't know exactly how you plan to walk and where you mean to go. Now what, Rosie? Are you going to let that wolf scare you away from your adventure? Yes, silly. Wolves are no joke. To go back inside and start fresh tomorrow, turn to page 2. To take a deep breath and journey on, turn to page 50. You will not let that mean old wolf destroy your lovely day. That furry bully has no right to bother you this way. But you've a care for safety, and so you shed your hood. The sun is bright, and you'll be fine. It's warm now in the wood. The smell of flowers fills the air, so fragrant and so sweet. But then you notice there's a sound, a somber, steady beat. You know your grandma's waiting, but she'll be home all day. You've got some time to wander. The question is, which way? What next, Rosie? What should you do with your extra minutes? To gather some fragrant flowers for Grandma, turn to page 16. To follow the sound of the beating drum, turn to page 8. The somber drumbeat leads you to a coffin in a glen. Inside you find a maiden fair, around it 7 men. The drummer stops and waves hello, then reaches for your cake. "So kind of you to come," he says. "We'll serve this at the wake." You're not quite certain what to do. You don't mean to be rude, but you don't know this pretty girl, and that's your grandma's food. Now what, Rosie? Are you going to let those dwarves take Grandma's goodies? It's only cake, and they're really sad. To let them have the treat, turn to page 66. No, wait, you already wasted too much time. To grab your cake and head to Grandma's, turn to page 54. You shake your head. "I have to leave, or Mama will be miffed. I'm sorry that your friend is dead. I hope your spirits lift." But once you're back upon the path, you hear an angry shout. Somewhere a boy is bellowing. You wonder what about. You've wasted too much time today. You really need to fly. But in your gut, you wonder what and who and how and why. What next, Rosie? First a drumbeat and now a shout. Are you really going to waste more time? To ignore the noise and run straight to Grand's, turn to page 34. Who are you kidding? You have to know what all the yelling is about. Turn to page 56. You head off through the trees again. You track the shouts of rage and find them coming from a kid, a boy about your age. He kicks and shouts and punches. He bellows and he rants. He's also dripping wet and wearing a frown and underpants. You blush until your face is red. You want to run away, but then you're also curious. How did he get this way? Now what, Rosie? Are you really going to hang around with this wet, pantsless boy? To head home now and avoid this ridiculous mess altogether, turn to page 64. To ask what's wrong and help this poor kid, turn to page 24. You step a little closer. You ask, "Are you okay? You look upset and sopping wet. I'm Rosie, by the way." "Hello," he says. "My name is Jack. I'm not okay at all. Some awful hunter stole my pants and boots, and that's not all. When I was bathing in the creek, he also took my goose. I only hope she manages to somehow wriggle loose. He ran in that direction. I don't know what to do. When Mum finds out I lost our bird, she'll put me in the stew. I don't suppose you'll help me? Go see if you can find that hunter and retrieve my clothes? I'm in an awful bind. What next, Rosie? Are you really going to head off on a wild goose chase? To apologize kindly but head along home, turn to page 64. To do the kid a favor, turn to page 60. You quickly take your jerkin off and hand it straight to Jack. The poor boy's nearly naked. No need to give it back. And after that you walk away as you climb a little hill. From there you can see everything, a bridge, a fort, a mill. You spy your grandma's cottage, a stream, a pretty lake, and everywhere the winding path, so many turns to take. It's nice to rest a minute, to stop and think a bit, to see the world around you and slowly ponder it, until you spot a fluttering, a pale thing in the wood. Could that be Jack's beloved goose, or is it gone for good? And somewhere else below you a man's voice fills the air. A hunting we will go, he sings. Be tasty and beware. Now what, Rosie? You aren't sure what to do. Which direction should you go? To follow the ominous hunting song, turn to page 14. To chase the vague white flutter that might be a goose, turn to page 72. You dash after the flutter and find it is the goose, but when you grasp her in your arms, she honks and wriggles loose. With a shout, you try again, your breathless muscles sore. Still, this is fun. You've never chased a stolen goose before. She squawks and balks, she flaps and flops, but you are strong and fleet. You scoop her up and dangle her by both her yellow feet. She scrapes and fights, but you don't mind. You're proud as you can be. You turn and run right back to Jack. You grin triumphantly. Jack reaches for his naughty bird. Now, time for a surprise, he says, and gives a gentle squeeze. Then right before your eyes, Jack's goose lays a giant egg too big for you to hold. Not only is it oversized, it's also solid gold. You thank Jack for this bounty. You set it in your basket. You wonder how the goose did that, but you've no time to ask it, because it's getting late, and now the sun is sinking low. Your mama will be furious. You really need to go. As you head back home, back on the path, you think about the day, so full of strange surprises, and wonderful that way. The end.